The Singularity and Gabriel Soma are the newest addition to the DBD cast and both bring two awesome perk sets which hopefully shift the meta the right way. You know how things are going around here? These are the 5 meta builds for the End of Transmission chapter. Let's go! And let's start with build number 1. It consists out of Scavenger, Stakeout, Hyperfocus and Distortion. This build in itself seems like a bit of a scam considering it all, but hear me out. Let's create the foundation of this build with Stakeout. Hiding inside the killer's terror radius or just being in it grants you up to 5 tokens which will turn good into great skill checks. This makes Hyperfocus come to life. This perk grants you additional repair progress on the consecutive hit of great skill checks in a row, making gens fly by in the process. Adding a lovely toolbox to this does not only make sure that you get more skill checks, but also that you can use Scavenger if the toolbox is depleted. 5 great skill checks then will repair and recharge the item in hand. The downside to this, however, is the fact that your repair speed is lowered by 50% for the next 30 seconds. But trust me, it will be worth it nonetheless. Many will argue now that build to last is the better choice here, but how long do you need in order to get build to last to work? The basic recharge time is 12 seconds, but if you consider the time it takes to find, enter and exit the locker, whilst also thinking about the time that you need to go back to the gen, you quickly find out that it's also close to 30 seconds, and on top, you're only granted 2 full recharges anyways, and that requires you to enter a locker 3 times. I would therefore say that Scavenger is definitely the better option. Distortion in the end completes the build and makes sure that you can do whatever you want to do in peace and silently. Scavenger in itself is a great perk and definitely deserves its place and will be found mid to bottom tier for sure. And let's continue with build number 2. It consists out of Troubleshooter, Cut Loose, Windows of Opportunity and Resilience. Build number 2 is about the new perk Troubleshooter. This perk activates in a chase and immediately shows the aura of the gen with the furthest progress, making sure that you simply don't go there. Further, once you drop a pallet, the killer's aura is revealed to you for up to 6 seconds. This, without needing to say anything, is very helpful in chase. Also advantageous in chase are Resilience and Cut Loose. Resilience once injured makes every action, yes, also vaulting, speed up by 9%. The latest perk Cut Loose is, as aforementioned, also a good addition. A rush vault will silence every further vault that happens in between 6 seconds to the previous one, resetting the timer after every vault that has just occurred. Chases therefore can be stretched almost indefinitely if you're a decent player. Windows Opportunity in the end is just there to locate safe pallets sooner and to get more out of the perks that are in this build. Troubleshooter is also a very good teachable coming out of this chapter. It will have its place and will be found in the middle of things. And I think that's just beautiful. Build number 3 is the obligatory killer build. It consists out of Machine Learning, Play with Your Food, Bitter Murmur and Hex Devour Hope. And one killers, now is finally your time to rejoice because I got something very fun for you. Machine Learning is a new perk which grants you a 10, actually let me save it again, a 10% HAS status effect and the undetectable status effect for up to 30 seconds after a compromised gen is completed. So this means that the last gen you've kicked, if completed, triggers Machine Learning, in combination to a neat 10% HAS you pick Play with Your Food. It increases your speed by 5% for each time the obsession escapes a chase. This is limited to 3 tokens, ultimately meaning that the max speed increase by this perk alone is 15%, making it 25% in total. On top of that, Devour Hope comes in play, and not only does it grant you the ability to kill the survivor by your hand, but also a nice 5% haste effect for 10 seconds after a hook has occurred. You have to play nice and fair, stay far away from the hook, but I think this perk makes it absolutely worth it. In total, you can get a speed increase of 30% if everything lines up perfectly, and to assure that this is actually the case, we play Bitter Murmur as everyone in close proximity to the completed gen will now be revealed for 5 seconds. This turns this build from fun and quirky to beastie and absolutely reliable. And build number 4 has to offer the strongest perk coming out of this chapter. It consists out of Made for This, Hope, Boondock Fury and For the People. Made for This is a definition of a game-breaking, oppressive perk. After healing action is completed, you gain the endurance status effect for 10 seconds. And adding for the people to this, not only assures you to run 3% faster as you're injured now, but also prevents you from going down in a very vulnerable situation, which is always a very lovely trait. Boondock Fury, Yoshi Teachable makes it 2% faster, and Hope 7% once the exit gates are powered. If you're now in a loop with a boon whilst being injured with powered exit gates, you have a total speed increase of 12%, which is just insane. Let alone, even without Dark Fury in play, 10% in the end game are still broken as hell. If you wanted, you could easily swap Dark Fury with Resilience. This would make your vaulting speed faster once you're injured with whoever supporting your chase and survival skills. Made for this is by far my favorite perk coming out of this chapter. It's strong and also has awesome combos that come with this addition. Love it to absolute pieces. And before we come to the 5th and final build that came with the end of transmission update, I just want to say that you can sub to my channel and also join my Discord if you want to support me in any kind of way without spending any money. That is absolutely the way to do it. And now let's go with our final build. And build number 5 focuses on a perk that recently got buffed. It consists of Flashbang, Background Player, Iron Will, and lastly, Prove Thyself. I don't know how to emphasize this, but the Flashbang buff is so good. Think about this. Before this update, you had a perk which made you unable to use any other item alongside. Okay, granted, when you're charging Flashbang, you could technically deplete a toolbox, but that's about it. With this update, all of your problems are solved for good. Flashbang needs a 50% gen repair in order to be activated. After that, just enter a locker and get a Flashbang and use it to blind the killer and further also help your fellow mates in a chase or help them to free themselves from the killer's grasp. Background Player should absolutely help you with that. A 4-second speed boost is sent your way once a pickup happens that should make it absolutely easy for you to get the save done. Iron Will is here to support you as well. You will never really be exhausted when attempting a save, and therefore Iron Will assure you that you stay undetected at almost any given time. The last perk slot in my opinion is up for debate. I've picked Prove Thyself in order to get more gen progress. If you however need more support whilst lining up for a save, you could also run Urban Evasion or Self-Aware. In the end, that's totally up to you. As aforementioned, pick any item alongside. Medkits are my number 1 choice, at least for this build. This runs up this video. What is your favorite perk coming out of the chapter? Let me know down below in the comments, and because we don't want to waste any time, see you in the next one, guys. Cheers.